Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we have something super fun. So in the last episode you kind of saw that my tanks were a little bit dying, and I've kind of decided I'm not going to do fish for a little bit just because fish are kind of a drag. You know, they don't propagate in your tank. I mean, they don't make babies in your tank, and I'm just kind of sick of fish dying all the time, which is really annoying. All my OG fish, no problem, but anything new I add to the tank, it's always just a problem. I'm not really sure why. So like I said, we're gonna kind of, stick with the coral and everything else in the meantime. Now, today's episode is going to be super fun. I've decided since we're not going to be buying fish, we're going to be actually trying to make this, tank a little bit better of a home for what I currently already have. So today we are actually going to play with the lights. So since the inception of this tank, I had always planned on adding additional lights. It was either going to be an additional Orphek, or it was going to be adding a Kessel here, there, and right there. Just because I do like the look of Kessels, and it would, add a bit more light and put a bit more coverage. Now, since I've had these Orpheks for a while, they are definitely pretty good lights. But one thing I've noticed is I kind of have an issue with a little bit of shading at certain parts. And if I did, for example, add the Kessels right in the middle, that wouldn't help with the shading, just because it would actually probably make the shadows even more noticeable. So what we are actually going to do is I actually got another Orphek. And the plan here is actually to take these lights right here, turn them 90 degrees. So we have basically vertical, vertical, and vertical, or parallel, or whatever you call it, but basically they're going to be this way. So we'll have one there, and one there. So what I hope to accomplish by doing this is actually taking out some of these parts that you notice here that I have a lot of darkness. So right here you see it's completely shaded by the shelf on the top. We have right here under the hammer coral. We have right here under the hammer coral another little area that's kind of shaded. For the most part, all the back parts are shaded, and the corners kind of don't get a lot of par. Of course, also under these little overhangs, it's shaded as well. And my hope is that by putting them the other direction, I get more forward lights and back lights, which will fill all those empty spots and provide a lot more coverage. Now, the biggest reason I want to add the additional light is just so I can move this bar farther to the end. And the reason being is that recently I've been having kind of some issues growing out some of these zoas. I do feel like because it is shaded right here, I haven't been able to grow any zoas of any kind, which has been a little bit annoying. There just isn't quite enough light here on the corners. You can see these pallies are kind of reaching for the light, same as these corals here. They're not just flat up against the bases. You can see some of the other corals kind of have the same issue as well. So what I'm hoping, like I said, is by adding that light, I can reduce some shading in certain parts, and what that'll do is allow me to grow more coral and make sure that the coral I do have, for example, this tort right here, might not be so shaded underneath, which sometimes does cause death. As you might be able to see right there, there's a little bit that kind of died off just because it's no longer getting any light. So what we're going to do right now is get to the big boy unboxed, get these lights unmounted, turn them at 90 degrees, and see how it looks. Alright, so what I did, as you can see, I took the original two off. I'm going to add the third one, not in the middle, but here on the side right there, just because then I don't have to worry about if the cable will reach or this or that. So I'll put the new one right there. But yeah, we have fit one of them up at least, so we changed it up. Looks pretty decent. I do have a little light bleed in the back and the front, but I'm actually pretty okay with that, because if you look at the tank, I no longer have shading in the back. Let me see if I can get my red lens. There we go, got my orange lens here. So it spreads enough, it spreads to like there. So I'll put the next one right there, and that should be perfect, covers this area. So I'll have, you know, just a lot better spread. Before, this entire back part was completely shaded, so I just did not have any, you know, light whatsoever. So that is going to be a lot better. Right now, it's actually almost kind of like, what do you call it? Off time. So the light itself isn't that bright. But yeah, I think that's gonna work. We'll put the other two up, one there, and we'll see how it looks like. All right, so I am done. To be honest, kind of once I put it on and seeing how it's doing, I might go ahead and change that. Just to back to horizontal. All that work for nothing. But it's okay. I mean, as a reefer, it's all trial and error. But the reasons I might go back is there is a significant amount of light bleed on the floor as well as the wall, that back wall. I do have a bit more coverage, which is cool on the back. But now that I look at it, maybe I can do without it. I mean, these are all just things you sometimes have to play with, so that's okay. And another thing that annoys me is now, because I have this little rim on the screens, it kind of blocks some of my coral. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna leave it like this for tonight, just because it's late now and I don't want to deal with it. I want to see it at least one day of just, how would you say it? One day through its schedule, just to see what it looks like. And yeah, we'll see how it does. I'm not sure. We'll see. It looks cool, and it would allow me to add Kessels, so this is a good option, I think, if I wanted to do Kessels at some point in the future, just to put it between each Orphek. But since that's not in my near future, I may just go ahead and change it back to parallel with the tank. But we'll see. Alright, so I actually ended up switching it back. It only took me like 10 more minutes because everything was kind of already set up. This is actually how I originally planned it, but I kind of wanted the Kessels on there, and, you know, doing it parallel like this. Obviously I can't, I don't really have a space, but I could put one in the back there or there, for example, at some point. So that's fine. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to stick with this, just because there's less light bleed. I am still getting kind of, you know, some not so great shadowing in certain spots, but that's okay. I mean, we'll play with it. The whole thing about reefing is that, you know, it lets you tinker, so we're going to tinker. But yeah, I think we'll keep it this way for now. I'm tired, it's late, but thank you guys as always. And like you're supposed to say as a YouTuber, if you haven't subscribed already, please do, because that was tiring. Have a good night. Peace.